Hey, and welcome, Miss Kira Speaks. Please do your girl a huge favor and stick around till the end of this video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and share with your friends and turn on those notifications, please. We are here for another episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 5, Drama for Your Mama. Baby, I am fighting for my life, okay? Let's see how quickly we can get this done so I can take my behind the bed and I will worry about editing this good thing tomorrow. Now, as this episode opens, we pick up right where we left off with Marlo and the girls at Kenya's door acting a doggone fool. And I said to myself, I certainly hope that they are not on the floor with other people, that they're like in a part of the hotel where it's just them and maybe production, because me as a civilian, as a regular guest, I'm gonna be calling the front desk. But anywho, we hear Sheree saying that she doesn't know what the big secret is, and Marlo saying that she doesn't give a about Brooklyn being in a room. Now, Sheree knocks on the door and asks if she could come in and ask a couple of questions, which is the approach that she should have took initially and not run up there with this posse of people that you know Kenya don't really like in the first place. When Kenya made that statement about calling the police, Marlo's like, okay, I'm about to head out. I said she understand that now, didn't she? Yet, for some reason, Sheree did not understand why Marlo was hollering Summer. Marlo says Kenya always pulls stunts like this and she is going to go ahead and get her some steak. And she's like popping ish to Monyetta, and Monyetta's like, I'm a grown woman. I can make my own decisions and I'll do whatever I please. Now, she does say she did feel some type of way about Kenya leaving her to the wolves to defend herself. So now they're getting in the elevator. Marlo's in the elevator. She's going off. And then Sheree in her confessional, she says that Marlo and Monyetta both have to have the last word. Because they're just going back and forth. I don't even remember what they were going back and forth about. But when they exit the elevator, they're coming up. I'm assuming it's to like the lobby. And they open the door and it's a heavy door. And Marlo swings the doggone door back. I hope my bat wings didn't get to going again. As she tries to slam this heavy ass door on Monyetta, because I am calling it how I see it. Monyetta comes flying behind her, and I think it was Courtney that had to kind of physically put some space between these two. In the confessionals, we get a whole bunch of gaslighting from these women about Marlo trying to slam the door on Monyetta. That's why I said straight up, I'm going to call it how I see it. Sonya was the only one who kept it funky. Now, it's some going back and forth. It's folks trying to talk to Monyetta. It's folks trying to talk to Marlo. And then finally, Monyetta decides to go ahead and get Kenya on the phone. Kenya wants to know why she always falls for the BS when it comes to Marlo. And Monyetta's like, no, my superpower is kindness. Child, I just love me some Monyetta. I know folks are kind of like with her, but she's kind of like similar to the Cynthia of the show. She's the calm. We need the calm. I kind of want her to stay a friend because you know how the show can get. And I just want her to keep that peaceful and keep that zen and keep being a good person. Kenya says she would feel better if anyone that wasn't her core group of friends just went home. I said, yikes. Sonya's asking her what's going on because you know she had to leave in the morning anyway and come back for some type of work function. And Kenya says, you can just stay. You don't have to come back. And Sonya was like, oh, okay, say less. In her confessional, she's talking about how Kenya was way worse in Jamaica. And my girl, I know she was leaving in the morning, but the way she went and got her stuff with the quickness, like she was running for that gold medal all over again. So they're on the speakerphone and Sheree questions Kenya about what's going on, and Kenya finally fesses up that she's performing at the halftime show. That's all you had to say, but we know Kenya wanted to surprise the girls, and I don't really understand why it was such a big deal. I said I was going to get into itinerary in this recap. I said it all that I done had to say in the last recap. And let me just take a moment, because I meant to say this at the beginning of the video. Thank you to the few of you that are actually watching these videos, because they are behind. I appreciate it. So Marlo and Courtney, they come in the lobby and they're kind of like sitting on the other side. Sonia calls, I believe it was Marlo, and basically gives them a heads up of what's going on. Marlo decides to send Kenya some nasty text message that she thought was funny, and how many times am I going to say it? Say it with me. I'm so sick and tired of Marlo. Her energy is just, had Monietta over there ready to call Ray Ray in. Sheree was like, please don't call Ray Ray. Like, she know Pookie. She probably know Ray Ray too. And then as Sonia is headed out, like I said, because she went, got her stuff with the quickness and zoop, made her way back into the lobby, Sheree shares with the group that Kenya is performing. I said just a whole lot of nothing, and I didn't even mean to take that much time talking about that. Back in Atlanta, Drew is leaving the hospital, and she's flu-free and feeling hydrated and much better. Kandi is having Todd time, and child, Todd done went I'm so tired, and got a whole poster made up for the film that he's working on called The Pass. It's about where a couple discusses giving each other a hall pass, and it's not very original, but I'm sure it'll still be cute. Todd says, if I could see it, then I can do it. I was going to sing, but like I said, your girl is tired, because Kandi's like, you went and got a whole poster made up. Like, you got to visualize it, put it into action. Todd is getting annoyed when Kandi is looking at her phone, checking text messages or whatever it is she's doing. And I said, this is giving me stunts and shows. Just me personally. You get down in the comments and let me know if you agree. Because Miss Kandi is busy, baby. Henceforth, why she cannot make the trip. And it was so funny that Kandi was not in the last episode, but they kept her name in their mouth. She brings up to Todd that her mom called, but she didn't mention BravoCon. I wonder why. Todd is then saying that maybe she plays into being the mean mother-in-law, so she just calls herself cracking on him like it's funny. And I was like, child, I guess. Kandi says she's had enough, and she does talk to her mom later on in this episode. Back in Birmingham, it's the next morning, and we're checking in with everybody to see what they're doing. Courtney is filling Drew in on what's going on in his tired trip, y'all. Marlo is talking to her life coach, God bless her. And then we see at 9 a.m. Kenya informed production she was unable to shoot. She calls an ambulance and says she was dizzy and she was having trouble breathing. She's recovering from COVID, and she reveals in her confessional that she's feeling numbness or pain in her left arm. And I was like, it's kind of scary. And then I have to remind myself that like this ain't in real time, and I just seen Kenya on IG, so she's perfectly fine. But you still worry when you see somebody's going through something. And like, surprise, surprise, that I actually like Kenya again for a second episode. No, I told y'all I'm tired, for a second season so far. Now, Sheree, she's on the same floor as Kenya, so the next morning she has all the ladies come to her room, and she fills them in that Kenya's at the hospital. They FaceTime her, and I think Kenya said she had a 101 or 102 fever. I didn't write the temperature down. And she says she's waiting for her test to come back. And Monietta gets emotional because she just lost her mom recently. And I guess the last time she saw her, she was kind of, same thing, like the hospital gown. Like I said, she tears up, she gets emotional, and I was like, oh, Monietta. And then we hear Marlo say something about saying a prayer, and we do actually see her saying a prayer. Now, your girl loves to watch Speak On It, and Monietta was on there talking to the DJ A1, and she revealed that she was the one, in fact, that started the prayer, and that Marlo kind of, jumped in at the end and finished up because, stunts and shows. Child, because wouldn't nobody want Marlo? I wouldn't want Marlo praying for me. And she basically is saying that they argue about stupid stuff when they have real things going on, which is true. But Marlo, you are the main culprit. And she wants to hug it out. In the confessional, Monietta says that Marlo is like Jekyll and Hyde. And then we get another gaslighting moment about this doggone door. I was like, y'all really gonna play in our face like Marlo didn't try to slam that door on that girl. But I'm gonna keep going because it ain't really much to this episode. So they're packing up to head home, and I did have something in my notes about the doggone itinerary, but since I already basically talked about it my last recap, I won't get into it too much. I basically just didn't understand what was the whole big deal about. Child, they just carried on, and I only bring that up because my question again was, why did they just go to the game without Kenya? Like, I know Kenya was supposed to perform. We were all looking forward to her performing, but like, it was just totally a wasted trip. Or at least find something else to do. So they're in the lobby, and they're having coffee, and they are asking about Kenya. Sheree says something about the assistant texting her and having to run tests, and then Marlo's like, yeah, well, I called the hospital to send some flowers, and they said that Kenya had checked on out already. I was like, yikes. And Marlo was laughing. Child. So the ladies said that they were looking forward to this performance, and so Monietta, she gives them preview of some of Kenya's moves, and they're, saying how Monietta really can dance, and in fact, she can. They are asking Monietta if she is basically going to keep these same vibes when Kenya and I guess Kandi are around. And you guys go ahead and get down in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that Monietta acts brand new around Kandi and Kenya. I'm like, they're her friends, but I feel like she gives everybody the same respect, but maybe that's, like I said, just me because I like Monietta. Feel free to correct me if you feel like I'm wrong. She says, yes, show her respect and don't fight with her friends. Marlo says she can't promise that. And I was just like, Sheree's talking about how the life coach ain't working. And Courtney is asking Sheree if she could be cool with her cousin Drew. And Sheree says that they were cool. And then Drew got on some interview on I think she said the radio, and talked about how she took all the sheep by Sheree stuff back after the reunion. And they're going to talk about it later in the episode, so I guess we'll get to it. I think that's at the very end. So back in Atlanta, Sheree brings Kenya some ginger and some other healing things. And she said that Kenya says that the test didn't say anything abnormal, but she did test positive for the flu. She says that missing the show was a huge hit to her business, and she's showing, Sheree her little costume. It's too cute, and she talks about Marlo kicking his damn door. Sheree says that she can't defend that, and then the producers call her out in the confessional and ask her, did she kick the door? But of course, Sheree just denies it and says, I'm a lady. Sheree says that Marlo just wants Kenya's attention. Yeah, my negative attention. And speaking of attention, here comes Brooklyn with some smiles and some hugs and busting a few karate moves. I said she is too cute. They talk about Sheree's fibroids, and Kenya tells her she had the surgery, and Sheree doesn't want the surgery, so she says she's trying something holistic. And then she jokes and tells Kenya that she's expecting, and Kenya was me like, I know you. So Kandi finally meets up with Mama Joyce. She comes on over, and they have some small talk, and they're talking about everything that Kandi has going on, and Mama Joyce is telling her, just keep on blessing people. You're going to continue to be blessed. Kandi is glad that they're finally getting to talk after BravoCon, and she brings up all the negative things that she said about Todd. They asked a question, and I told the truth. He needs to lighten up. Constantly dragging him in public. Why don't you ever bring up the things that he does that you think are right or nice? Most of the time I'm come over, he sleeps, so I don't get to say anything to him. And Kandi states the obvious. That's because he's avoiding you. Kandi's telling her the negative energy is coming from you, Mama. Kandi feels like the previous year that the vibes were better in the family, and she's telling her that the next anniversary they'll have 9 years of marriage, and it's getting out of hand. She brings up how the kids are not going to want to see their grandmama dogging their daddy out. Mama Joyce says Ace is 6 and Todd needs to be teaching him how to take out the trash. Don't you love a toxic mama telling you what you should be doing with your kids and your household like they have any idea what's going on? Not that even matters. Mama Joyce says when they got married, he was meek and humble, and now he's walking around like a little George Jefferson. Child, she's so full of it. Todd is so calm, and I'm sure he is still respectful. Kandi says she's tripping and she's tired of the nitpicking. Mama Joyce somehow gets into, the whole strip club thing. And Candy's like, well, I go with him to the strip club. So just not minding her business, which is typical mama stuff. Well, what do you and your man do? I said, come on, Kandi. If I get one, Candy's like, nah. Kandi laughs and tells her to leave her man alone, and that basically she just has to accept that that's who she loves, and Mama Joyce agrees. She suggests that they go to counseling, and she accepts. I am glad that Kandi said what she had to say. I don't know that she needs to go to therapy with Mama Joyce, and I feel like they already did this before. You can get that in the comments again and let me know if I'm right or wrong about that one. Like I said, I'm glad that, Kandi put her foot down, so to speak. So we see Kenya, and she's at like an Ivy bar or Ivy place, and she's invited Sheree and she's invited Drew because, all three of them have been sick lately. I would love to do this. I'm not even a fan of needles or IVs, but I really would like to give it a try. So now when Drew comes in, she only gets a high five from Sheree. Sheree says she has an issue. Her and Drew were in a good place. They had a nice conversation, and then somebody forwards her an interview where Drew said that Sheree confiscated all the She by Sheree after the reunion. Drew's like, I didn't say everything, but the audio proves that was a lie. Sheree in her confessional basically says that, she just knows, she sees Drew for her worst, basically is what she's saying. Kenya, she brings up Birmingham and how she confronted Marlo about coming at Drew. Drew says that Marlo wanted her to go hard on Kandi, but she didn't use the word. And Sheree's like, shooting? Yes, we don't use that word in Chicago. And then production shows the footage of her actually using the word. Drew, she just goes ahead and recounts the whole situation, and then Sheree clarifies a couple of things that Drew wasn't clear on. So Marlo's nephew worked at Kandi's restaurant. He met a guy who also was working at the restaurant. They became roommates, and he ends up taking out Marlo's nephew. This is what Sheree says to Drew and Kenya. Doesn't have anything to do with Kandi. It's what Kenya says, and Sheree's like, the whole thing is that, Kandi didn't reach out or send flowers, and the whole bullshit is lame. Kenya asked Drew if she gave Courtney her number. Drew says, no, we know that was a lie. But she invited you somewhere. Okay, Drew. So Sheree brings up the Birmingham peace pact that they all made when they were there. And then we get a flashback back to Birmingham and a flash forward to the next episode, seeing that we're not going to stay there, and that is where the episode ends. The episode was Leave your thoughts and comments down in the comments section, or just let me know that you stopped by. I'm going to try and get episode 6 up by Sunday, so I'll at least be caught up, kinda. See you good people in the next one. Peace.